Hello and welcome to the frame by frame animation video. This is going to be a completely different exercise in the sense that it does not take advantage of the motion tween. If we think about the motion tween exercise that you did last week, as well as the motion tweens you sort of created for the simple properties exercise, the idea is that you state via those frames and keyframes that I want the red ball to be here at this point, and then I want the red ball to be over here. Animate will sort of make up that information in between. What we're going to do on this one is completely different. And we're going to be creating a simple gesture or action of a guy doing a jumping jack. Now, a jumping jack has several different stages. We're sort of standing, basically. We're headed up towards the top, and then we're at the top, and then we come back down. It's good for an exercise like this because it's a repetitive and sort of cyclical thing. So we can do one jumping jack and then have a little dude looking like he's doing many jumping jacks. The idea behind frame-by-frame animation also is that we don't need to see every single step. If something is happening over a very sort of brief period of time, and let's think about our timeline, 24 frames per second, we're going to have this happening over basically 1 second. You are not going to necessarily notice that we're jumping from kind of, arms down to sort of arms fairly outstretched. It's going to look like motion. And that is happening because we're doing it over a quick portion of time. If you were to slow down old Disney movies, you would see that they kind of, when Mickey Mouse is moving, you don't necessarily see the detail in every single step. That's not important. What's important is sort of this illusion of motion. So I've done this exercise many times, and I've sort of set out how sort of accurate and how many steps we need to sort of include in this frame-by-frame animation. The other thing that's different is we're going to draw directly on the stage. Okay, so that's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be very important that you sort of understand the keyframes and blank keyframes and things like that. So without further ado, let's head into this. I've pulled my tools out just because they're a little easier to point to a couple things via my screen capture video, but don't sort of get confused by that. So let's skip ahead to step 4. It says choose the brush tool. This is just this paintbrush. And then it says step 5, set the stroke color to none and the fill color to black. We just want to draw something. So I have this none and I want to set this to black. It says choose a mid-sized brush in the properties window. So when I click the brush tool, and they recently changed this, I can sort of change the size of that. I'm going to choose 10 or 11 here. This is sort of a mid-size drawing. Next, step 7, it says draw a stick figure face and torso directly on the stage while leaving room for arms and legs. Okay. So this guy's going to be doing a jumping jack. So this is a stick figure. Okay, we're going to draw a little. He's going to be happy he's doing his jumping jack. But I want room for his arms, which are going to sort of go up. I want room for his legs down here. Now, the reason I'm just drawing this portion is that I want basically space for sort of the various stages of this animation. Okay, so it says insert a keyframe via control click at frames numbers 5, 10, and 15. Okay, it says not a blank keyframe, but a keyframe. I'm going to explain this in a second. So I'm going to, in my case, I'm going to right click and it says insert a keyframe. You can also go in up to insert the timeline keyframe, but I'm going to do this, the right click. It says 5, 10, and 15. Okay, I'll explain what we're doing here in a second. What this does is it sort of carries over this basic shape that's going to be in each of our sort of steps of this jumping jack. Now, in a jumping jack, your torso and head might move, but we're going to try to be efficient about this, and we're basically just going to sort of keep this static and only animate the arms and legs. All right. So keyframes put forth or sort of carry over the material that has been drawn in previous frames. Blank keyframes would just insert a keyframe that has nothing in it. We have now 4 keyframes, one at 1, 5, 10, and 15, that have our torso and our head. All right. Now it says step 8, insert a key. Oh, sorry. Step 9, click on the frame number 1 where there should be a keyframe. It says choose, and then step 10 says choose your brush tool and draw the arms and legs in the standing position. So this is the beginning of our jumping jack. So I'm going to sort of have our dude, and again, this is a very sort of simple stick figure. Okay, so we're just drawing him at the beginning of his jumping jack. All right. Now, so that was step 10. Step 11 says click on the frame number 5, where there should also be a keyframe, and hopefully you see where we're going here. Now, since I have a keyframe from 1 through basically 4, my standing position is going to sort of be there. Once I get to step 5, I have another keyframe just with the torso and the head. Okay. Step 11 says click on the frame number 5. We did that. Step 12 says choose the brush tool and draw the arms and legs moving midway up the body. There are going to be 4 steps to the top of the jumping jack. Okay, so you probably see where this is going. So I want this to sort of if we think about sort of legs were about right there, let's have the legs start to come out. We don't have to be perfect. Maybe the arms start to come out a little bit, and you can sort of move your playhead up here to sort of see if that's a decent sort of transition. It's going to look jumpy when we do that, but when we sort of play it in real time, it'll go much quicker. Okay. Step 13 says repeat for keyframes 10 and 15, with 15 ending with the arms above the head and the legs outstretched. So as we head through our jumping jack, he's going to do a big old jumping jack. We'll sort of get, I don't know, 3/4 of the way up, and then step 15. Okay, maybe that's no good. Just get it all the way up. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So we have the makings of sort of going up in our jumping jack. If we can all just think of a jumping jack and what that looks like, we can sort of deduce that we have these 4 simple steps and we have reached the top. Okay. Now, at the beginning of the video, I mentioned this is sort of a cyclical thing. It's a good way to sort of exemplify the frame by frame. So we need to go back down. Okay. Now, you could sort of repeat these steps and draw him going back down, but the goodness of what we've done is we actually already have these steps. This is sort of this was sort of this step right here, frame 10, was representing going up, but it also represents the sort of next phase if we're going down. So all we're going to do is we're going to be efficient about this. And we're going to copy these steps and sort of paste them back into the going down or the future portion of this jumping jack. If this doesn't make sense, hopefully it will here in a second. And it gets a little confusing, but I'm going to try to go through this pretty succinctly. So it says on step 14, go to frame 20 and control click to insert, and this is different, a blank keyframe. Okay, so I'm going to insert a blank keyframe. We have our dude up at the top of his jumping jack all the way for 5 frames. Each of these steps is about 5 frames. Okay, so I inserted a blank keyframe. A blank keyframe is a keyframe where we're going to state something is happening, but I want to bring in all new material over here. Okay, next it says step 15, click on frame 10. Okay, this is our sort of almost to the top of the jumping jack, and we want to copy this. And it says choose select all, edit select all. And this is going to select all the drawn elements on this, and edit copy. Okay. Now it says step 18, go to frame 20, which will make the stage appear blank. This is the blank keyframe we just made. And it says choose, edit, paste in place. We want to paste in place because we want the location to be the same. This is very important. A lot of times people don't put stuff in the right spot and things end up looking kind of glitchy. All right. So we're going to repeat this sort of method to sort of finish our jumping jack. So next, step 19, it says go to frame 25 and insert a blank keyframe. Okay. And it says click on frame 5. Step 21, choose edit, select all. And then edit, copy. Now we're going to go to frame 25, which should appear blank because that's the blank keyframe. And we're going to paste in place. Okay. Now, we basically have a guy going up, up, all the way up. Now he's coming down. Now he's coming almost all the way down. And basically, what we need to do at this point is sort of see if our jumping jack looks correct. So I'm going to test this. Now, I'm going to sort of talk about this as we go back to the timeline. I didn't repeat those last few steps for the what I'll call the standing state, because as you probably know, when Animate gets to the last step, it basically goes back to the beginning. The only thing is on this almost down state, we need to extend it out a little bit. So it says insert a keyframe at frame 30. Okay, and I'm going to show you what this does. This sort of just gives this step a little bit more time. Okay, so I'm going to control test the movie again. So we have a pretty fluid, fairly fluid, not horribly well drawn, but fluid jumping jack. So last, I'm just going to sort of, and I'll let you do the rest. You're going to save this as frame by frame, and hand in this SWF. So let's quickly just take a look. We're down, we're going up, we're going up. We have reached the top. Each of these keyframes has 5 frames sort of attached to it. We're almost all the way down. We need some time, and when it hits right here, it's going to go directly back to this stage. Okay, this sort of standing stage needs another 5 seconds to sort of, or 5 frames to sort of give the illusion of a fluid jumping jack. Okay, so again, this is frame by frame animation. It's considerably different than the other ways of animating. Later in the semester, we're going to get into using this inside a movie clip, so it's important you understand this concept. We've inserted some blank keyframes. We've inserted and sort of understood the brush tool, and hopefully some simple copying and pasting. So in the end, again, and I'll leave it at this, we've got our jumping jack guy. If this guy looks too slow, if he looks too fast, you can always, and this is more for future reference for your movies, you can always alter the amount of frames that this happens over. If you want it to be a quicker jumping jack, make each of these sort of steps 3 frames instead of 5. Okay, that's the easiest way to sort of change the timing on things. Okay, any questions? Email me. And take a look at the week 3 document for everything that needs to be done this week.